If you have to keep asking yourself whether this relationship is right, that question itself might already be the answer, because love that's healthy doesn't leave you living in doubt, tension, or quiet anxiety. It doesn't make you rehearse conversations in your head or wonder where you stand every single day. The hardest truth isn't that you might be with the wrong person. It's that staying can slowly convince you that something is wrong with you. And once that happens, love stops feeling like love and starts feeling like survival. If any part of this feels uncomfortably familiar, pause for a moment, take a breath, and stay with this conversation, because understanding this could save you months or even years of giving your heart to the wrong place. One of the clearest signs you're in a relationship with the wrong person is that instead of feeling secure, you feel constantly confused. You don't feel grounded in where you stand. You replay conversations in your head, wondering what they meant, what you should have said differently, or whether you're asking for too much. Simple things don't feel simple. A delayed message becomes a spiral. A change in tone makes you question the entire relationship. You're not reacting because you're needy or overthinking. You're reacting because consistency is missing, and your nervous system is trying to make sense of emotional unpredictability. Healthy love creates clarity. It doesn't leave you guessing about someone's intentions, their interest, or their commitment. When confusion becomes your baseline, it's often because words and actions don't align, and you're subconsciously trying to bridge that gap on your own. Over time, this confusion trains you to doubt yourself. You stop trusting your instincts and start seeking reassurance externally. You ask friends for their opinions. You analyze situations endlessly, and you wait for moments of certainty that never fully arrive. Instead of feeling chosen, you feel tolerated. Instead of feeling safe, you feel alert. And the exhausting part is that you become responsible not only for your emotions, but for managing the emotional temperature of the relationship itself. You're constantly adjusting your tone, your expectations, your needs, just to keep things from tipping over. The wrong relationship doesn't always hurt loudly. Often, it hurts quietly. It disguises itself as hope, as patience, as loyalty. You tell yourself that confusion is temporary, that clarity will come once things settle, once they change, once they finally choose you fully. But clarity isn't something you earn by waiting. It's something you feel naturally when someone is aligned with you. When you're with the right person, your mind isn't constantly racing to interpret their behavior. Your body relaxes. You don't need to decode love, it speaks clearly. And when love consistently feels like uncertainty, that isn't a challenge to overcome. It's information you're meant to listen to. When you're with the wrong person, you often find yourself explaining away red flags instead of feeling genuine peace. At first, it feels reasonable. You tell yourself everyone has flaws, no relationship is perfect, and love requires compromise. So you soften things that bother you. You minimize moments that make you uneasy. You reframe disrespect as stress, inconsistency as being busy, emotional distance as independence. Each time something feels off, you reach for logic to override intuition, because acknowledging the truth feels more threatening than tolerating discomfort. Peace doesn't require this kind of constant mental negotiation. If you're always justifying someone's behavior to yourself or to others, it's often because your inner sense of safety is being quietly violated. Over time, this pattern becomes exhausting. You don't just live the relationship, you manage it. You prepare explanations in advance, convincing yourself why this moment doesn't count, why this pattern isn't a pattern yet. You hold on to isolated good moments as proof that things will eventually balance out, even as your baseline emotional state remains unsettled. The wrong relationship often trains you to be endlessly understanding while your own needs are left unmet. You become incredibly compassionate toward their limitations, while becoming increasingly dismissive of your own emotional signals. What makes this especially dangerous is how normal it starts to feel. You grow accustomed to tension, You mistake emotional endurance for strength. You confuse your ability to tolerate discomfort with compatibility. And slowly, peace begins to feel unfamiliar, even suspicious, because chaos has become the emotional language of the relationship. But love isn't supposed to require constant self-persuasion. It doesn't ask you to ignore your body's responses or silence your inner voice. When something is right, you don't have to convince yourself of it. There is an ease that doesn't need defending, a calm that doesn't require justification. If you're constantly explaining why things aren't quite right yet, it's worth paying attention to that pattern, because love that is aligned doesn't demand endless rationalization. It doesn't require you to translate discomfort into hope or confusion into patience. The absence of peace isn't a challenge to overcome. It's a message, quietly asking to be heard. Another powerful sign you're in a relationship with the wrong person is when your needs consistently feel like too much to them. You hesitate before asking for reassurance, clarity, or time because you've learned, often subtly, that your desires are inconvenient. You soften your requests, apologize for having feelings, or preface your needs with explanations so they sound smaller, more reasonable, more acceptable. Instead of feeling free to express yourself, you feel cautious, as though asking for what you need might push them away. Love should never make you feel like your emotional needs are an inconvenience. When someone is right for you, your needs don't threaten the relationship, they help shape it. Over time, this dynamic teaches you to self-edit. You suppress parts of yourself that want closeness, consistency, or emotional depth. You start telling yourself that wanting more makes you demanding, that needing reassurance makes you insecure, that expressing discomfort makes you difficult. But those narratives don't come from nowhere. They're often reinforced by a partner who responds to your vulnerability with distance, defensiveness, or silence. Instead of meeting you with curiosity and care, they make you feel like the problem simply for being human. The quiet harm here is how it reshapes your self-perception. You begin to equate love with emotional restraint. You pride yourself on being low maintenance, understanding, and easy, even when it comes at the cost of your own fulfillment. You become skilled at carrying unmet needs quietly, convincing yourself that this is what maturity looks like. But love that requires you to diminish yourself isn't love that allows you to thrive. A relationship shouldn't ask you to abandon your emotional truth in order to keep someone comfortable. When you're with the right person, your needs don't need translation. They don't trigger withdrawal or irritation. They're received as information, not accusations. Feeling safe to need, to ask, and to express is not a luxury in love. It's the foundation. And when being yourself feels like too much, that isn't a sign you're asking for too much. It's a sign you're asking the wrong person. One of the most quietly painful signs you're with the wrong person is when you feel lonelier with them than you ever did on your own. You're physically together, you talk, you share space, but emotionally, there's a distance you can't quite close. Conversations feel surface level or rushed. When something meaningful happens in your life, you hesitate before sharing it, unsure whether they'll truly listen or care. Instead of feeling seen, you feel invisible. Instead of feeling supported, you feel like you're carrying everything alone. Loneliness in a relationship is deeply confusing because it contradicts what love is supposed to provide, and yet it becomes your everyday emotional reality. This kind of loneliness doesn't come from being alone. It comes from being emotionally unmet. You may sit next to them on the couch while feeling completely disconnected, craving presence rather than proximity. You want emotional engagement, curiosity, and warmth, but what you receive feels minimal or inconsistent. Over time, you stop reaching out emotionally because the effort doesn't feel worth the disappointment. You learn to self-soothe, to internalize your thoughts, to handle your struggles quietly, even though you're technically not alone. That's when companionship turns into isolation. What makes this especially painful is how it slowly rewires your expectations. You start believing that this is what relationships are like, that emotional closeness is rare, that wanting deep connection is unrealistic. You lower the bar, not because your desires changed, but because hope feels too exhausting to maintain. And yet, there's a persistent ache beneath it all, a knowing that something essential is missing. You may even feel guilty for feeling lonely, telling yourself you should be grateful, that others have it worse, that this isn't enough of a reason to question the relationship. But emotional loneliness is not a small issue. It's your inner world signaling misalignment. The right relationship doesn't erase every difficult feeling, but it doesn't make you feel alone in them. Love is meant to be a place where you feel accompanied, understood, and emotionally held. And when the presence of someone amplifies your sense of isolation instead of easing it, that isn't a phase to push through. It's a truth about compatibility, quietly asking you to pay attention. When you're in a relationship with the wrong person, you often find yourself living in the future instead of the present. You stay not because of how the relationship feels now, but because of what you hope it might become one day. You tell yourself they have potential, that they'll change once they're ready, once life settles down, once they heal, once the timing is better. You cling to glimpses of who they could be, rather than fully acknowledging who they consistently are. The relationship becomes a waiting room, and your emotional life is placed on pause while you hold space for a version of them that hasn't yet shown up. This dynamic quietly drains you. Instead of being met where you are, you're constantly accommodating where they aren't. You adjust your expectations, postpone your needs, and make excuses for why now isn't the right time for deeper commitment, emotional availability, or effort. You become invested in a story rather than a reality. And the problem with that is reality is what you live with every day. Potential doesn't comfort you when you feel lonely, unseen, or unchosen. Potential doesn't show up consistently. It doesn't communicate clearly. It doesn't meet you emotionally when you need support. Over time, you may even start to confuse hope with love. You believe that believing in them is proof of loyalty, that patience is the same as compatibility. But love that is rooted in potential often requires you to tolerate dissatisfaction in the present. You begin to measure progress in tiny increments, celebrating minimal effort because it feels like movement, even if the core issues remain unchanged. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to admit that what you're holding onto may never arrive. Being with the right person doesn't require imagination to fill in the gaps. You don't have to constantly project forward to feel secure. Love should be experienced, not anticipated. It should feel supportive and nourishing now, not someday, when you're always waiting for the relationship to become what you need instead of feeling it already is. That's not patience. That's self-abandonment dressed up as hope. One of the clearest signs you're with the wrong person is when you begin to shrink parts of yourself just to keep the relationship stable. You become more careful with your words, more measured with your emotions, and more strategic with your reactions. You silence opinions that might cause friction. You downplay excitement, needs, or concerns because you've learned that authenticity leads to tension. Slowly, you trade honesty for harmony, believing that keeping the peace is more important than being fully seen. But the cost of that peace is your own emotional expression. This kind of self-shrinking doesn't happen all at once. It's gradual, almost invisible. You adapt in small ways, choosing not to bring something up, letting things slide, telling yourself it's not worth the discussion. Over time, those small acts of self-censorship add up. You no longer feel like your full self in the relationship. You feel edited, you feel contained. The version of you that shows up is the one that causes the least disruption, not the one that feels most alive. What's especially painful is that you may not even realize how much you've changed until you're outside the relationship or around people who allow you to be expansive again. You notice how easily you laugh, how freely you speak, how relaxed your body feels when you don't have to monitor yourself. That contrast can be startling. It reveals how much emotional labor you were carrying just to make the relationship work. Love should never require you to make yourself smaller. The right relationship doesn't demand perfection, but it does allow presence. It doesn't ask you to dilute your emotions or suppress your truth to avoid conflict. You should feel free to express express joy, frustration, curiosity, and vulnerability without fear of withdrawal or punishment. When a relationship rewards silence more than honesty, that's not stability, that's emotional containment. When being yourself feels risky and shrinking feels safer than speaking, that's not love adapting, that's you disappearing slowly to keep something intact. And anything that requires you to lose yourself in order to survive is not something that's meant to hold you long term. In a relationship with the wrong person, love often begins to feel conditional instead of safe. You sense that affection, attention, or warmth is given only when you behave a certain way, say the right things, or avoid difficult emotions. You become hyper-aware of what keeps the relationship smooth and what disrupts it, and you adjust yourself accordingly. Love no longer feels like a place you can rest. It feels like something you have to earn and maintain through careful behavior. This creates a quiet anxiety, a constant monitoring of tone, timing, and expression because safety feels temporary rather than stable. Over time, this conditional dynamic teaches you to associate love with performance. You notice that when you're agreeable, calm, or emotionally low maintenance, things feel better between you. But when you express hurt, disappointment, or need, the connection cools or pulls away. This trains you to suppress vulnerability and prioritize being palatable over being honest. You begin to believe that closeness is fragile and that one wrong move could cost you affection. Instead of feeling held, you feel evaluated. What's difficult about this kind of relationship is that it can still contain moments of closeness, which makes the conditional nature harder to name. When things are good, they're good enough to keep you hoping. But when things are hard, you're left alone with your feelings. Safety in love isn't about never having conflict. It's about knowing that conflict won't threaten the bond itself. When love feels conditional, disagreement feels dangerous, and vulnerability feels risky. A healthy relationship offers emotional safety. You don't fear being misunderstood beyond repair. You don't feel like you have to walk on eggshells to stay connected. You trust that your partner's care doesn't disappear when things get uncomfortable. Conditional love keeps you in a state of emotional alertness, always anticipating withdrawal instead of feeling secure in presence. When love feels like something that can be taken away rather than something that supports you through difficulty, your body knows before your mind does. You feel it in the tension you carry, the hesitation before you speak, and the relief you feel when things are calm again. Love isn't meant to feel like a test you're constantly trying to pass. It's meant to feel like a place where you're allowed to be fully human. At some point in a relationship with the wrong person, there is a quiet knowing that settles in long before any decision is made. It's not loud or dramatic. It doesn't arrive as certainty. It arrives as a feeling you keep pushing away, a truth you avoid naming because admitting it would require change. Deep down, you already sense that something isn't aligned, but fear steps in and offers reasons to stay. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of losing the version of the future you imagined. So instead of listening, you rationalize. You tell yourself every relationship has doubts. You convince yourself that love requires endurance, that uncertainty is normal, that walking away would mean you failed. This inner knowing doesn't disappear, it waits. It shows up in quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts, in the heaviness you feel when imagining years ahead that look exactly like today, in the relief you feel when you imagine what life might be like without constant emotional negotiation. But because the truth feels threatening, you bury it under effort, loyalty, and hope. You stay busy, you stay committed, you stay patient, and the longer you ignore it, the louder it becomes, not through words, but through exhaustion. What makes this realization so difficult is that it doesn't mean the relationship is terrible or that the other person is bad. Often it simply means you are incompatible in ways that matter deeply, and acknowledging that can feel like betrayal, even when staying requires you to betray yourself. You may keep waiting for a moment that gives you permission to leave, something obvious enough to justify the pain of choosing yourself. But the truth is, alignment doesn't require catastrophe to be valid. Knowing you're with the wrong person isn't about logic. It's about honesty. It's about listening to the part of you that has been quietly signaling discomfort, misalignment, and emotional fatigue. That knowing is not weakness or fear. It's clarity asking for courage. And when you finally allow yourself to admit it, you're not giving up on love. You're making space for the kind of love that doesn't require you to ignore yourself to keep it alive.